day. Good day. How are you? This is Brian Seth Matthews with the Building Us Up episode, our second episode, and we thank you for tuning in and hope you enjoy everything that we're going to talk about tonight. And we've been talking about the family. Our first episode was based on the family, and tonight we just want to continue with that. And tonight I want to ask you just one simple question. Am I my brother's keeper? And in an effort to not to necessarily keep this a specifically religious episode, but just to speak to the heart as to how we relate to our family members, how we relate to those we consider to be our family members, or just to those that are surrounding us daily as a whole. And I was thinking about, some things that were going on in my family, and not to get into too much detail, but the question came to me, am I my brother's keeper? And I realized that is a scripture from the Bible where Cain, he had murdered his brother because of some things that had happened, and I'll just say it was like jealousy. And he asked God, what, why are you asking me, am I my brother's keeper? Because God had asked him, where is Abel, your brother? And he just simply said, am I his keeper? And that's in Genesis 4 and 9, and I'll just read it. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And so many times when people ask us about our family members or ask us about things that are going on around us, even just sometimes friends, we're quick to ask, why are you asking me about that person? Is he or she my responsibility? Am I supposed to keep up with them at every turn in a road? Am I supposed to be so responsible for them that I'm supposed to know every move that they make? No, that's not what we're saying. But in this day and time, I find that so many people are selfish. So many people are only worried about what's going on around them and what's affecting them only, not realizing everything that they do affects everyone around them. And so we find ourselves asking that question. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I responsible for that person? Am I supposed to know where they are? Am I supposed to keep up with them? Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? So, in essence, we should want to know where our family members are, not only physically, but mentally, socially, any other aspect of life, because family is all we have in most cases. And so many times we find ourselves in a state of mind that we want to just worry about us, and as I look over this scripture, and again, you can't really not keep it in a religious context without actually keeping it in a religious context, because Cain was, he had committed a sin according to the Bible, and he was trying to hide it. But on another level, he was angry that even in the midst of that, he was to not only face what he had done, but still be concerned about his brother's whereabouts, his brother's stature in life, and what his brother was doing. But in him answering that question, he's basically denouncing any responsibility that may have had for his brother. And he refused to take responsibility, not only for what he had done, but for his brother's whereabouts. Now, those of us that are involved in any type of church or anything, we know that sin is sin. To murder is considered a sin. And he was angry, and he had taken it further because the Bible says to be angry and sin not. So he not only got angry, I believe he got to a point where he was mad. Because when you're angry about something, you're okay. But then when you allow it to make you mad, you go and you do stupid things. And me, myself, I take the term mad and I believe it to mean that you have taken the anger a few steps further and you're not thinking straight. You're absolutely only thinking about yourself and what you feel and what's going to make you feel better. So in essence, what's going to happen when you get to that state of mind? You're going to make some bad decisions. You're going to do some things that you don't necessarily want to do, or some things that you don't necessarily know that it's not in your character, but you're going to do it anyway, and there's going to be no way to take it back because you've reached a level beyond that anger, which is okay to be angry. Because again, as I stated, the scripture says, be angry and sin not. Okay? So in Cain doing that, he was showing forth the depths of his selfishness and even his injustice towards his brother. Am I responsible for my brother? Am I responsible for caring and looking after him? Am I responsible for loving and watching over him? Am I responsible for knowing where he is? Am I responsible for his condition? Am I responsible for his welfare? Am I responsible for his circumstances? What are you asking me to be responsible for in asking me, am I my brother's keeper? Why am I responsible for not only my situation, but somebody else's situation? Now, I take family very seriously, and I love my family, and I love what my family represents. I love what I'm able to do with my family. Sometimes I'm loving what I'm not able to do with my family, because there are times when you need to be by yourself. There are times when you need to be all alone and you need to just collect your thoughts. Anybody that feels like they always have to have somebody surrounding them, I think has a little bit of a problem too. And I say that carefully because I'm not saying that it's wrong to want to have people around you, but sometimes you need to stop and contemplate, okay, where am I at in life? What am I doing with my life? What am I going to do with my life? But in these days, I find that there's a lot of selfishness when it comes to people around you, even just people in your everyday circle. I'm more concerned in where I can get. I'm more concerned with how I can get ahead and how I can make more. Because we're living in a time where more people are battling with a feeling of entitlement. And I don't know if I want to just say feeling, but they are they're stuck in this rut of everybody owes me something. So since I feel like that, I'm going to do whatever I have to do. I'm going to crush whoever I have to crush. I'm going to step on and use as a step stool anybody I have to use as a step stool because I want what I want. I'm entitled to it. It's mine already, even before I worked for it. And I want it. Bottom line. That's what people feel. And it's not just a generation per se. It's a whole decade or more of people who feel like this. So what can we learn from Cain, whether it be, what do you want to say is his sin, or let's just use the word mistake, and how callous he became toward his brother, and let's look at how callous we've become towards each other. Okay, look at how things have changed in history. I remember a time when you could walk down the street and you would know everybody on the block. You would say hi to Mrs. Jones, say hi to Mr. Tim, say hello to Bobby, hello to his sister. And now most people don't even know their immediate neighbor to the left or right. We walk through life as if nothing else and no one else matters. We don't take care of our fellow human beings. We don't care for our fellow human beings. We just think that we are on this earth by ourselves. How can that be right? Even if we know these particular people are in desperate need. And I know sometimes we feel like we don't have to get involved because we feel like, okay, there's governmental agencies that can get involved. There are churches that can get involved. Because it seems to me that a lot of people today, they don't want to go to church. They don't want to have anything to do with church. They don't want you to talk about God. They don't want you to talk about religion. They don't want to talk about Christianity. They don't want to talk about changing their lifestyle. But when all else fails and they're in trouble, where do they go? They go right to the church. And in all essence, that is what they're supposed to do. But how is that fair? You don't contribute to anything. You don't contribute to the welfare of the building. You don't contribute to the welfare of the people that are in the building. But when something goes wrong in your life, you get in your car and you zoom down to the local church or to the local religious program and you ask for help. And they will help you because they, for the most part, are thinking, I am my brother's keeper. I have to say, my sister's keeper, because we live in a world where if you don't clarify things, it's considered politically incorrect. But I just want you to know that if any time I say something and I say my brothers or anything or him, I'm including mankind as a whole, okay? So you just know a little bit of how I speak. A lot of times in this world, we see people that are in a difficult situation. We see our immediate family that are in a difficult situation. We see them with hurt. We see them with pain. We see that they're suffering. And what do? We turn a deaf ear. We close our mouth. We close our heart. We turn our backs on them because we feel like I have my problems. I have my own issues. I have my own bills to pay. I have my own children to take care of. But I found that in helping someone else, I find help for myself. There are so many people in this world that need help. Now, I have things that I do overseas in Kenya. I have ministries there that we're building, and we would like to build a school there. We would like to build a ministry there because we know that there are orphans there, There are widows, widowers. There are people that have been in the jails there. There are people that are brokenhearted. There are people that are lonely, people that are empty, people that are just overall just going through a rough life. More so than what we're doing here in the United States. Yes, there are people that are hungry here. There are people that are homeless. There are people that are sick. They're battling with things of that nature. But more so in other countries because they don't have the resources that we have readily available. They don't have a Department of Human and Health Services that they can go down to and sign up and get financial assistance so that they're able to buy food. These people, what I did learn when I did go over to Kenya with my wife, and we were there for about a month each time that we went, they will help each other as much as they possibly can, even if they only have a half of a cabbage, a cup of beans, a cup of rice, a cup of maize, whatever they have, they will share with their neighbor if they can. And we can't do that here in the United States. If I don't have any food in my house, I can't go to my neighbor's house and say, hey, I don't have any food. Can you help me feed my family? They're going to look at me like I'm crazy. They're going to say, go on about your business. That's not my business to help you. That's not my portion. So, but we find that in the day that we live in, we can't help each other because it's not our responsibility. Our neighborhoods are no longer our responsibilities. Our communities are no longer our responsibilities. We just take care of the residents of our address, and that's it. And the world is full of hurting people. And God is asking, where is your brother? Because you are responsible. You are his brother. You are his keeper. But because we're so blinded, as Cain was, in our hearts and our minds against, I'm going to say it, we're blinded against God. And even more, because we feel like God is not, he doesn't care about us. And I know a lot of time God gets a bad rap. And I sit and I ponder and I wonder why, because I had the opportunity to do a grief training. And in this grief training, we had the blessed opportunity to meet and speak with people from other religions. We got to speak with someone of Hinduism, someone from the Jewish, and the Islamic Muslim community. And I find that as they were describing their religions, first of all, in Hinduism, the lady came and said, Hinduism is more of a lifestyle. And I sat and I wondered. I said, now, people consider Christianity a religion when in fact Christ came that he would show us a better way, a better lifestyle. And yes, we've had some dogmatic preachers, some dogmatic representatives of Christianity, and they've made it look like this dogmatic way of non-loving people. But as the day went on and we began to discuss the religion of Islam and the Muslim, and yes, there are many different, I don't want to say the word, but I'm just, for the lack of a better phrase, I'm going to say divisions of Muslim, and people have sects, something like that. But for the most part, they believe in God. They believe, for the most part, everything we believe, except for, if I quote the young man correctly, that Jesus was just another one of the brothers. They didn't see him as a Messiah, just as those that are in Judaism. I hope I said that word right. But anyway, we find that they're so similar. But I think what has happened is that people have taken Christianity and blown it all out of the water. They've made it this some maniac, crazed religion that judges everybody. Nope, not right. At least that's not how I believe it is. I believe Christ came to give us a better way, to show us a lifestyle of love. We're not going to always agree. We're not going to always walk the same path, because everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own way. But love is the basis of it. Yes, now there's consequences for any decision you make. I don't care what religion you believe. Because if you make a bad decision in Hinduism, they believe karma will get you back, whether it's in this life or the afterlife, when you're reincarnated. Because if I heard her correctly, she was describing a situation where something happened to a family member, and then the family member said, maybe I did something wrong in my before life, and now I'm paying for it. So there's always consequences for anything you do inside your body, outside your body, no matter what religion you're part of. But getting back to the brother's keeper, the world is so caught up in themselves that we lose sight that we can help each other get through our problems if we just try and not say, I got my own problems to worry about. I don't have time to worry about yours. I had a family member tell me that recently, and it just amazed me, because this family member always wants help with what they're doing, but then when you ask them to help you, they have their own problems. How is that fair? So, again, am I my brother's keeper? Your family is important. You are important. I'm not asking you to be there and to hold their hand through every bad decision that they've made, because sometimes people have to suffer the consequence of what they've done, what they've said, and who they've done it to. But for the most part, we should be readily available as much as we can to help those that we love out. That's beyond going into a religious setting. That's just everyday loving our family. That's before putting God in it, any other religious piety or pietist creature involved. We should love ourselves enough to be able to love our family through the thick and thin, through their problems, through their heartaches, through their tumultuous times in life, and love them through it. Because there is another scripture that says, love covers a multitude of sins. That's not saying we're supposed to let people get away with anything that they do, or just let them keep using you and abusing you. No, that's not what I'm saying. There is a cutoff point. There is a time when we have to say, okay, enough is enough. Now, you're obviously not trying to make a change in life. You obviously want to keep going down this road. You obviously don't want to do better, and we're trying to help you do better. We're trying to put you on the path, or at least show you a path that could get you to that better point, but you don't want it. So now we have to use tough love, and maybe you'll get there. So I thank you for listening, and in our talks, we just want to continue to build each other up. We want to build up trust. We want to build up love. We want to build up understanding, and we want to build a bond of togetherness. That is the purpose of our podcast. That is the purpose of what we're doing, and our foundation that we started with building us up. And yes, again, we do have ministries and things that we're doing in Kenya, and we want to do more things, and we want to get the word out there. We are doing some wonderful things. If you have any comments, suggestions, hit me up with an email at pastorstep@gmail.com with any comments, positive comments. Please, no negative comments. Nothing that will be derogatory or full of profanities, because I don't intend on upsetting anybody, but I will speak truth. I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to tell it like it is. Okay? So I just want you to enjoy it as we grow together. The podcast, this is our second one. Still a little nervous, but we're doing it. And in order for us to get better at something and to develop something, we've got to step out in it. In order for us to make an impact in the world, we've got to be in the world. All right? So now we're in the world, and we're making our impact the best way we can. So again, I thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you continue to listen. Share it with somebody. And if there's a lag in it, just let me know, because I'm feeling my way around this equipment, pretty decent equipment, but we're learning as we go. So thank you again for listening, and remember, we're building this up.